Hello, I just want to do a quick top 10 of 2023, but before I begin, I'm going to go over some honorable mentions, because this was a really good year for collecting. As you can see, there's Gamer Edition Optimus Prime. That was, I wasn't expecting it to be that good. Had so many good features. There was the Takara Dark of the Moon Air Raid. I'm not a fan of Tarn, but like, as a character in the comics, which is kind of an unpopular opinion, but the toy was really good. Origins Jazz, that was a nice little impressive one, and the toy hacks really bring it together. Been after the Beast Machine Snarl for a good 20 years now, and it was nice to find one like mint in packaging and got to properly experience it. I've got like a Universe Longhorn, which Mason helped me get from Canada. Complete better than the broken one I got last year. There's Minicon Ram, which is the green little spark plug in the middle. That thing's quite rare apparently, and it's just a nice little toy. Managed to get Velocitron Fracture / Crasher. I've got a couple of customs in here. I've got the Optimus Minor from the Beast Alliance Optimus Primal, and I've done a Beast Machines Optimus Primal from the mainline Optimus Primal from Rise of the Beasts. They were just a lot of fun. I just wanted to include them as just honorable mentions because I really enjoyed how those customs turned out. There's also Leader Class Optimus Primal from Rise of the Beasts. That was a really good toy. And there's the Kara Beast Wars Versus Cheetor. That was really good. I'm not the biggest fan of the Cheetor mold, but this one turned out really good. G2 Grimlock was a lot of fun. Really like the colors, and ever since I saw that G2 after the unreleased toys, I've always kind of wanted that Grimlock. Much better than the blue design in my opinion. Legacy Evolution Metal Hawk, he's just a lot of fun. Really good retooling of Cyclonus, and I'd highly recommend him to anyone who's not picked him up. And finally we got Sam's Club Starscream from Armada. I picked that up from a visit to the Space Bridge, and it's just a really nice color scheme for a really good classic toy. At the number 10 slot, we have Hunter's Rumble Barricade. I've been after getting this guy for the longest time. I remember he was a US exclusive to Target back in the day. At first, I thought it was a UK police car, 'cause it's fairly similar with the fluorescent yellow, the Battenberg markings. But then, obviously, there's Chinese writing. It's based on a Hong Kong police car. He's just a really nice alternate take on Barricade. It's nice getting different cars from around the world with Transformers as different repaints. I'd like to see more of that in the future. I happened to find it about a month ago at Rollout Roll Call, and it's a really reasonable price, still sealed in box. I think this guy is mainly here just because of the rare factor, and I thought I'd never find one. At number 9, we have Robot Masters Bound Rogue, based on the Beast Wars Basic Class Snarl, repaint in blue. Throughout this list, you might start to notice a theme of obscure Beast Wars repaints. I really like these toys growing up, and it's really nice getting these alternate repaints of them. Yeah, he's just a really fun toy. There's just something about it just looks really nice on the shelf. Just the colors just really bring it together. It's just really fun re-experiencing this toy again. Funnily enough, this was actually my first buy from TF Nation this year. He's over at the Space Bridge table, and he's still sealed in box for a really affordable price. I'd recommend exploring Robot Masters if you haven't looked them up already. There's quite a lot of nice little repaints and homages. With number 8, we have Transformers Go Gurren Dragotron. So Gurren is Japanese for Crimson, and Dragotron is the Japanese name for Predaking. It's essentially Crimson Predaking. I've been after getting this guy for quite a while. His prices were usually really high since he's a Japanese repaint. That's Ultimate class, basically Commander class for modern standards. I picked this guy up at TF Nation from the Toy Food table, so all proceeds went to charity, and it was a really good deal on the price as well. And this version happened to come with an extra sword, which I noticed afterwards. So he's got 2 really big swords, big dragon toy. I think out of all the bigger toys I've got recently, this is definitely one of the better ones. It's just a lot of fun to have in hand, and I really like the transparent red wings as well. I currently have him amongst my 13 primes as Onyx Prime. I think it works quite well as a stand-in for that character, and is imposing enough for sure as a beast. It was just a lot of fun just getting this guy, and at TF Nation as well was a bunch of us around the table just all messing around with it, and it was just a very enjoyable experience getting this guy. Next up we have Beast Wars Combiner, which is the Jointrons aka Tripledicus. I bought this off a friend just after TF Nation because I noticed he was selling it at a very good price. Special thanks to Omega Supreme with the 9 after the E. I'd never really seen this one too much before. But again, this was a year where I was going after Beast Wars repaints, especially those I'd never really seen much, and also a new way of experiencing these molds that have been out for a very long time. I never had the original Tripredacus. I've done customs of them in like modern toy form, but I'd never had the actual original combiner. So getting this for the first time was really fun because the way they combine and everything was very much reminiscent of kind of Rail Racer, where it's 3 of them that make up a bot, and the way motor arm attaches onto the other 2, it just really reminds me of kind of like how Rapid Run was the middle part of Rail Racer. On Triple Takeover podcast, Sixo mentioned that a while back, which was kind of interesting because I'd also kind of noticed the similarities, but these triple combiners are all just a lot of fun. I'd say Magnaboss is probably the weakest if you have Tripredacus, Magnaboss, and Rail Racer together, but they're all really good in their own way. Each one like puts forward something for engineering that advances it. I'd highly recommend trying these guys out. Motor Arm's combined arm thing is a bit iffy, but the way the other parts all intersect and even just how the arms themselves connect to the torso is just really fun. I think from an engineering point of view, this thing's really just amazing, but then when you get each bot individually, especially in their beast mode, they really just look amazing as well. This is one of those toys where I think in all of the modes, even the robot modes themselves, it looks good. So I don't really have much to fault in this. This one was missing a couple of weapons, but it doesn't really hinder the toy that much. It's still really good. It's also worth mentioning as well that these are actually Maximals and not Predacons, so Beast Wars 2nd was quite interesting, where a lot of the bad guys are all vehicle based, so whenever they got like a Predacon toy, they changed up the colour scheme and they had to try and make it more Maximal-like. So as a result, we've got this like really interesting Maximal insect combiner. If you can't find this guy though, I'd recommend just the standard Beast Wars Tripredacus. It's just a really fun mold overall, and you'll get a bit of fun out of whichever one you pick up. So I eventually got a Battle Unicorn. This is often like joked about amongst Transformers fans as being kind of one of the more ridiculous Transformers because it turns into a unicorn. But it's actually a really good toy. It's a Beast Machine's Basics class, and they almost never fail to impress a lot of the time, in my opinion. Although it might be an unpopular opinion. Yeah, Beast Machine's Basics class are just usually just really good fun. It's mainly made of clear plastic, so there was that worry because it's over 20 years old it might break, but it's been pretty sturdy, and the transformation was quite a bit of fun. The robot mode transformation and everything was quite impressive in how much it changes. But the main reason I was after this is because I'm after the repaint of it, which is Magna Stampede, which is a toy I've been trying to find for the last few years and have had no luck trying to find so far. It's a zebra-looking repaint, which I thought looked just quite fun. It was obscure enough, and I thought this would be a good goal to try and collect, and it's kind of just evolved more into Grail status than just a fun, obscure thing to find. Apparently back in the day, this guy was a big bad toy store exclusive, but as a result, they had their warehouses full of these for a good 8 years, according to TF Wiki. But now this figure's worth quite a bit because it's quite sought after and there's not too many of them out in the wild anymore. So even though I kind of bought him so I could test out the mold for if I did find a good priced Magna Stampede, if it's worth buying or not, I think the mold's very good, so I definitely want Magna Stampede even more now, but then Battle Unicorn also stands on his own as a really good toy made of clear plastic that looks amazing. Because clear plastic does look really good in the collection. Next we have Revenge of the Fallen Deadlift, based on GoBot's Spoons. He's a Revenge of the Fallen repaint of Dirt Boss, and he came in a 2-pack with Beachcomber. He's been pretty hard to find in recent years, but I just thought the orange deco looked better than the Dirt Boss one. Fiero Locks from Infinisun managed to pick me up one, but I was missing an arm and 2 legs. So I got like some spare parts from a Dirt Boss, painted them up, and he looks pretty decent now. Not an exact match to the original, but is taking creative liberties. But yeah, special thanks to Fiero Locks for picking this up for me. It was a nice challenge actually, trying to match the paint to what was already on there. But it just looks really nice with the orange. You don't really get that many orange Transformers, and to get a orange Decepticon is always a nice change of pace. Also, just want to point out that the forklift alt mode is pretty unique. You don't really get that a lot, so I kind of appreciate that as a bit of a change of pace again from everything else. So with this next one, it's 3 of them instead of just 1 entry. That's because I feel like the 3 of them kind of work together as a team. I bought Landquake a few months back on his own, and he's been a bit of fun. I definitely like this deco the most out of the different ones. But not too long ago, Dredge X97, who you guys might know from YouTube, he saw my wanted list and saw that I had Checkpoint and Swap Prowl on there, and he just bought me them for Christmas as a nice gesture from him, so thanks again for that. And I just think all three of these, like, they work really well as a trio together. Like, I think in the Energon cartoon, in the original decos, the three of them all trade up together, Rodimus, Prowl, and Landmine. But these, like, white decos for the three of them just, yeah, again, it looks really, like, consistent as a team, and I just really like the looks of all of them. I think the Super Link Combiner mode is kind of like, I think when you have Checkpoint as the top, it looks a bit weird with the arms. But the Prowl option as the top works fairly well, but I think for the most part, I kind of really enjoy the three of them in their vehicle modes, because I think the vehicle modes are very unique, well painted, and have really great designs to them. Now this entry also has more than one, but you'll probably notice a trend as we get closer to the final couple of them. There are two of them here, and they are the Fusion Cluster, Protoform, Optimus Prime, and Starscream. These are the Japanese repaints of the Protoform, Optimus, and Starscream in clear plastic. So if you're worried about your Starscream having gold plastic syndrome and crumbling, you can get the clear plastic one, which also probably does the same over time. However, I haven't noticed any issues with these two so far. They just look visually really nice. Like, it's amazing how a different sort of paint job, or in this case, different style of like clear plastic instead of the opaque ones we got in the original, just really brings these toys to life so much more. I think especially Optimus Prime with the clear blue and then the orange around the chest. That is just such a striking look to have on any shelf and display. I managed to pick up the Optimus at TF Nation. Paul from the Space Bridge was just putting them out on the Sunday. I happened to notice it, and this was one of the toys on my wanted list that I was really trying to find. So I just bought it as soon as I could. And then shortly after TF Nation, I went and got Starscream from a seller over in Canada. So I managed to get both of these two really rare, nice looking toys within only a couple of months of each other. So I'm really happy to own both of these guys, and they just look really nice on my shelf display and everything. Highly recommend them because of just how nice they look. I think with the way they look and everything, and just the rare nature of them, they do feel like grails, or like treasure pieces or something. It's really nice. So, now we're at number 2, and I know there's 5 figures, but I'll explain. I think the Beast Wars Neo line has really reignited my enjoyment of collecting. We get like obscure new repaints of the original Beast Wars toys, such as Rockbuster being a teal version of Razorclaw, things like that. But also we get a few new molds like Break and Stampy. I've just had a lot of fun getting these guys for the first time and experiencing them and just enjoying the search for them. Some of the more fun I've had collecting this year. Since this is like a top 10 video, you might want me to do like a top 5 within these, but instead I'm just going to go over each one with a few bits I like about them. So we've got Hydra, which is basically Laserbeak from the original Beast Wars line. The purple repaint of Pterosaur, which Pterosaur was actually the first ever Predacon toy I ever owned, and also my favourite Predacon. This guy's got like a bit of nostalgia to me, because my brother owned Laserbeak growing up, and now I've got my own version called Hydra, with silver wings instead of purple, and it's nice owning this guy. Next we have Break the Penguin, and he's a very heavy panel former. The robot mode's not the best, but the penguin mode is absolutely amazing. The flippers, posing them, can give him so much expression. Just tilting the head, moving the flippers. It doesn't seem like much, but you can get him in some really fun poses, and it's a penguin transformer, so I'm really appreciative of that existing. We've also got Crazy Bolt, who's a repaint of Iguanus with lots of gold on him. I got the retro reissue Iguanus, and he was very stiff and not quite what I remembered. Also, Iguanus was another one my brother owned as a kid, so me getting Crazy Bolt is kind of like my own Transformer. It doesn't feel like I've got a copy of one of his. It's a unique repaint in itself. The repaint of Iguanus to Crazy Bolt is subtle but effective. I really do enjoy the gold on this guy. We also got Rockbuster. Like I mentioned, he's a repaint of Beast Wars Razorclaw. in very different colours, and I think the colour difference between these two repaints is a good example of why these Takara repaints are just a really fun thing to collect, because the different colours really bring different life into these characters. I guess it's also the difference between a Predacon and Maximal, because it's like I said during the Tripledicus segment, that they had to repaint a lot of the Predacons into Maximals, and Rockbuster here is a Maximal. But even if you had to tell me he was a Predacon, I think he would still look really good with these colours. The colours just happen to be so much more striking than Razor Claws. And finally, we have Stampy, who was actually a Christmas gift from Keege TV. He's been telling me he was going to give me a Stampy for a while, and he showed up the other day, and it's really fun owning this guy. I think, unlike Break, his robot mode's actually really good, and I think his bunny mode, it has a bit of issues standing with the way he poses the legs sometimes, but it's just really nice having a rabbit transformer. When I watched the first episode of Beast Wars Neo, I thought Stampy was one of the standout characters of that, along with Big Convoy, and it's nice just to have a toy of a rabbit transformer, and also have a bit of liking to the character that it's based on as well. And my pick for the #1 toy of the year is the Takara Beast Wars vs Eternal Showdown Optimus Primal vs Megatron 2-pack. I just think these repaints just go that extra level above the Kingdom and Netflix versions of these characters, and really gives us a more show-accurate deco that they just look so premium in hand, and I actually think a lot of people are praising the Megatron, but the Optimus Primal is actually slightly better. If you look at around the upper thighs, you'll see there's a red ball joint that connects to the hip, which is actually show accurate. It's also the same on the Masterpiece, but that's the thing that sold me on this pack, just seeing that and realizing just how much more show accurate it is. Like, I grew up with Beast Wars, I want to get the most show accurate versions of them at this sort of scale, and I think these are the best ones for it. If they were to release another one next year where they had like remolded Gorilla Head for Optimus Primal that's more show accurate, I'd probably buy it again, but I just really enjoy how accurate these guys are. I've added a couple of upgrades to these guys, which I transferred from my previous ones. Optimus Primal's got like a sort of chest filler thing, jetpack, and Megatron's got a few gap fillers as well, but overall, really good 2-pack. Oh, and then with Megatron, I put the Kingdom head onto him, because I just didn't really like the growling face he has by default with the Takara one, which they got from the T-Rex remold of Megatron. So contrary to people thinking they molded a new face, it was actually just reusing the T-Rex alternate head they used for the Kingdom Megatron. But yeah, these guys are really good. If you can get them, 100% get them if you're a Beast Wars fan. All the Takara Versus sets so far have been really good. And yeah, these two are just really good ones to start off with that whole line.